Hi everyone, welcome to Vectron Pack number 3 overview. We are going to explore a little bit what we have in this latest pack, and let's start. So we have Mixpinsky Formula. Let's zoom in closer to that. This one, we are going to see this one later. So this is the Mixpinsky formula. We have so many parameters here. I don't think you can even try to check all the combination and see the difference because there's too many different combination. It's a formula that really resembles like buildings. Sometimes you can see a little city in there. Just play a bit with the parameter, and there's a lot of detail. Almost too much. You can see if I switch to normal kernel that has a lower ray epsilon, you can see so much detail. And for example, let's zoom here on these like columns, and if you decrease the ray epsilon, this is basically infinite detail. And it's really cool because you have different modes and many ways of making the fractal loop. So you can really spend days only on this formula. Actually, I think it's the most powerful we've ever built. And yeah, sometimes it's a little buggy, but this means that you have to change some parameters because we couldn't think about all the different possibilities with this parameter. So just play around, and let's move on to the next one, which is the Mandelbrot formula. All right, it's a little slow. Okay, here we are. Let's disable the Mixpinsky. So Mandelbrot formula is really organic, and it works really well with subsurface scattering materials. I've created a really simple material here with just some medium, some random bulk, and you can see there's two colors. Really works well with the light, actually, with some light source. But anyway, let's focus on the shape, on the fractal itself. So the cool thing about this formula is that it's not really one formula, it's two formula. So there's a Hibit bias parameter here. If you set that to 0, we see only amazing box formula. So this is one formula, and if you change this slider here, it's going to interpolate the other formula that is, which is the classic Mandelbrot, the 3D version of the Mandelbrot set. And this way you can combine different formulas and you can change the bias here. This is really cool. Maybe it takes a while to understand it, but really cool. And another thing is that you can change the Mandelbrot variation mode here. Let's try spikes. And this is really cool shape. We can change the loop parameter here. You can change the angle. Let's zoom out. The angle here. I mean, the combination are endless. See, this is already organic, like I see some sort of structures here. Really cool. So let's reset everything to its default parameters, To do that, just hit compile, reset and compile again. I never understand why I have to do that, but anyway, that's the way. There's also a Mandelbrot Scale, so you can still control the individual formulas as you want. You can change the power, so the more will produce more symmetry in it. But this is still cool with some nice materials over it. Really cool. And anyway, you can also just play with the Amazing Box formula in this way and change some parameters. Really fun. A lot of different parameters here. Let's move to the next one, which is Structura formula. So Structura is, I have to admit, is a really strange, another one, sorry. It's a really strange formula because you don't see this kind of fractal very often. It's really actually structural. That's why we call that Structura, of course. And there's many parameters also here, and different combination you can archive. There's a box scale parameter, box fold. I encourage you to just try to change them and see what's the effect. There's a smooth parameter, which is really cool because you can get like hard edge, or you can just smooth everything out. Really nice. You can see how you can animate this really easily. Look at this. And let's change the minus radius. Really fun. I love this one. You always end up with cool shapes. Of course, some light would help a lot here. But a really cool formula. So let's go to the next one, which is the Brot Displacer formula. This one is strange. Also this one, of course, is strange. And it's basically Mandelbrot and Julia version. Sorry, it's a 3D version, like a displacement version of the classic Mandelbrot and Julia set. So there's many different parameters. Most of them are for the coloring, because colors are strange here, and you see the way it's like follow the fractals. That's why there's many parameters just for the coloring. And you can do cool stuff with this, but it's more like abstract, and if you have to do some strange abstract animation, that's the way, of course. Or you can end up doing some like mountains. If you want, you can actually do that. Change the smoothness here. You can change the height. You can make a lake, or really whatever you want to do with this one. And you can map images as texture on the material. You can map all the Octane nodes, actually. So let's try to change that. We just have a noise here and the gradient. You can change the gradient to something else. Or you can change the noise scale. Really, you can just plug in a texture directly in the diffuse, whatever you want. But another cool thing about this formula, is that you can create a lens distortion. At least I use this formula like that sometimes. So let me find this one, which is just under, is set as child as the Octane camera. Let me find that. Come on. Here we are, sorry. It's transparent, so sometimes you don't see that. So this is actually transparent. But the cool thing is that it has a material with some, which is specular, and you can see through, but there's some dispersion and the index is really low. So what happens if you enable all the fractals that are behind this plane and you switch to path tracing? You will see that nothing is happening because yeah, because I was in the wrong spot. So you see, this is the fractal that is changing and warping the light behind it. So if you zoom in, this is still a fractal, but it produces a really strange distortion, and I really like this. So you can put any image behind it, or HDRI, whatever you can think of, and just zoom inside the fractal. Of course, you can change the parameters. Look at this. I love this kind of effect. You can change parameters, but for that, let's go back to normal kernel and change the Phoenix here. Or you can go back to the classic Mandelbrot set, just disable the Julia mode. And here you go. Let's go in the Elephant Valley. Which is this one. You see the elephant here. And you can always use that as lens distortion when you have to really distort heavily something. Cool and strange, like all the formulas in this pack, I think. That's basically it.